But appreciate you being with us and giving us some perspective. We are winding down the day, and the day is going to end with a gain which is a lot lower, a lot lesser, a fraction of how we started. I mean, the opening gap was almost 200 points up, and now we're going to go home with just about a 70-point move. Nonetheless, it's not as bad as the lowest point of the day, so that's something to kind of hold on to. Talk about the large cap screen on the upside, NTPC, the stock that we were just discussing, and banks have really ensured that there's no wider decline. Bank Nifty itself is up about 0.6%, one of the best performing indices of the day. And if you look at some of the constituents, Kotak Mahindra Bank, HDFC Bank, there's a fair amount of green out here. Then you had, of course, a lot of consumer stocks to thank for the fact that we're still closing in green. Nestle, Tata Consumer, HUL, even ITC, last I checked, still up about just about 0.25%. Some of these names on the positive side as well. Maruti, Bharti Airtel, Bajaj Auto, these are some of the auto names which have had a good day, even Tata Motors for that matter. So auto and consumer, two good parts of the market along with banks. What didn't work? PSU, and more PSU. So BPCL, ONGC, Coal India, a lot of these stocks were lower. And even IT, second day running. I mean, in the morning, these stocks were looking okay. But by the afternoon, by the close, we have a cut of about 0.5% to about 1.5%, depending on which stock you're looking at. TCS being down a whole 1%.
Well, for the mid-cap index, it ended lower, but you can say it ended down but not quite out, because from the highs of the day, it corrected about 750 points. From the lows of the day, it actually recovered about 1,100 points as well. So there was more recovery than decline from the lows, and that's something that the street would take note of. The Nifty as well, the expiry happened right in the range that the option writers were positioned for as well. Among the top losers on the mid-cap end of things were Vodafone, Idea and Indus Tower. Of course, the Supreme Court news not helping the cause of these telecom players. Then you had Chambal Fertilizers down about 8% as well. And then we did see some decline in a couple of these PSU names like Hindustan Aeronautics, etc. On the way up, the big gainers in the F&O space in particular were United Breweries, the Andhra liquor policy aiding their cause. We also saw some traction in Jubilant Foodworks, which ended about 3% higher. AU Small Finance Bank, and then a couple of these mid-cap ITs actually outperformed the large-cap ITs as well. And that was the word that came in from someone like Nilesh Shah as well, who said that mid-cap IT is a better place than large-cap IT. So First Source and Persistent Systems, of course, we heard from Sanjeev Goenka on First Source. Then from the absolute broad markets, the small cap indices, we had big gains coming in these snack makers, Gopal Snacks, we had Pratap Snacks doing well. Spencer's Retail also on the QCOM foray did well. But on the way down, we had Bajaj Housing Finance down about 7.5% down for the second day running. And also PN Gadgil. After the stellar listing that we saw in the earlier part of the week, the stock ended about 8% lower today and off its 52-week high, down 16%. All in all, a weak session for the mid-cap index, which continues, but not as weak as the lowest point of the day would suggest.
Okay, and with that, it's curtains on this edition of Closing Bell. Many thanks for being with us. But to see you just after this small break. Markets Forward coming up next.